So check this out. I'll let you look at my sad excuse for a car lot right here. I do have some cars over here that are for sale. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got a big hole. We just sold a couple. And then we got another 6 that are on this line. But my total, because I've got a front row out here too, my total actual cars that I have for sale right now is right at about 20, I think is what we have listed on our website. Very sad. What's been the most difficult thing for us to do right now is not actually selling cars. We've actually, we've been selling about 2 or 3 just about every day. That's pretty good for us throughout summer. But the problem with us is being able to get cars back here listed, being able to buy them at auctions right now, because they just aren't there right now. And there's a big reason for that. It's because everybody's broke. You got to think about the kind of cars that I'm getting. I mean, look at this. I mean, that's a $3,000 Impala with busted paint on it. I mean, I got a Grand Marquis back here that a lot of you have been hitting me up about, but it's not for sale yet. But that's the kind of stuff that we're buying to sell, that for me to be able to sell for under $5,000. And the type of people that are driving these kind of cars right here, do you think they're wanting to trade in their car that's only worth $1,000, $1,500 to get a brand new car? What's a brand new car cost right now? Average is $50,000. So the average new car payment is going to be, I think it's like somewhere between $750 and $800 right now. So they're going to trade in their car that's only worth $1,500. That's the kind of car that I got to buy to have something that it's only going to be worth 2 payments of that new car. No, they can't afford it. So what are they doing? The people that actually have the cars that I need to buy for my clientele, they're not trading them into these new car stores. And this is a massive, massive dilemma for my car dealership going forward, and one that I'm very, very, very worried about. And what's very interesting about this time period is we go to auctions and we check out these cars, and I'll have 3, 4, 5, 6 cars on my list, and just about anything I want to buy that's this kind of stuff, I'm able to buy it, because other dealers that are in my range, they're weak and they're not able to pay as much as I am to be able to buy these cars. So I'm able to actually go in and buy cars. The problem is they're just not there. And it's a thing where we could be on the verge of actually doing really well here at my business, because we could have, I'm not going to say a flood, but a lot of vehicles that actually come into the system if we have either the economy turn for my type of customers, or if we have incentives, extra things that are coming from the manufacturer to make it more accessible for a lot of my types of customers to trade in their cars. You got to think, the only way that I get cars here at my dealership is going to auction. The only way that a lot of these vehicles get to auction is trade-ins for new vehicles. So no, someone who's got a 15-year-old RAV4 or a 2002 Toyota Camry with 200,000 miles, that's a good car still. They're not trading that in to go buy a brand new car right now. It's few and far between. So those vehicles, I need dealers, these new franchise dealers, I need these new car manufacturers to provide incentives, to provide a reason for these customers to trade in their car. And I know a lot of you out there are in that kind of that boat where you have that 15-year-old car has got 200,000 miles, and I see it in the comments. No way they're getting this car. I've got this thing paid off. No way I'm trading this thing in and going to buy it in $50,000 junk box that they're producing right now. No, so you are actually a problem for me. But if I were in your shoes, I'd be doing the exact same thing. I'm not going to trade in that car and go buy one of these brand new recalls that they just put out. They're absolute garbage, and this is the problem that I'm going to run into for the foreseeable future until we have a lot more trade-ins actually come into the system. The only way I get more trade-ins that come into the system is by people buying brand new cars. It's not happening. And yes, you can still have like the foolish people that will buy a brand new car every 3 years and just trade in those. Those people are still rolling their cars. Velocity of money in the upper end of the spectrum, that's still happening. That's not the customers I'm talking about. So you can still have manufacturers, you can still have some of these dealer groups that actually can put up some good numbers, because the upper end of the economy is actually providing all of their money to them. We talk about K-shaped economy all the time, and this is what I'm seeing exactly here right now. The lower end of the spectrum, the lower end of that K right there, they don't have the money to be able to upgrade to that next car. But the upper end, yeah, they're still spending money like crazy, and I still see a lot of those new vehicles show up at auction. We're still seeing auction numbers actually creep up, but the spectrum of which cars are actually showing up at auction is much, much more skewed to the higher end. I went to an auction just 2 days ago, and they run, it's the biggest auction here in North Carolina, I think, but they run anywhere between 2,500, like 3,500 cars every single week. I go through this whole run list and I pick out the cars that I want to buy, the cars that I like to buy, like these Ford Edges, some of these old Fords, some of these old Jeeps, Grand Marquis. You saw that? I say Marquis, it's a Marquis over there. A lot of these Subarus with higher mileage. I like to buy that kind of stuff. My list got dwindled down to 5 cars. Out of about 3,000 cars, there was only 5 cars that hit my criteria for me to look at to even try to bid on. That's been a very rare scenario over the last about year that I've been going to that auction. And that's what's caused my concern. That's what's caused me this reason to make this video, because I like to show you what I'm dealing with here at my car lot. And you can extrapolate whatever you want to from that, however the market is. I can read my market, and that's all I know. Right, I'm this dumb used car dealer, and people are not buying cars, or I'm not seeing cars at auction. I'm seeing more repos at auction, things like that. I can make up my mind depending on what I see to see what I'm going to do here when I have to operate. But that's the thing. That's what I'm seeing right now, and it's scary. One thing I can point out too is my wife pays attention to a lot of the data that comes in and out of our shop. And we sell a lot of cars. We'll sell probably between 700 and 800 cars this year. So we are a small car dealership, but if there's other car dealers looking, they're like 700 or 800 cars. You're not a small car dealership. We still are. We move cars really fast. But we're able to see how our customers actually pay for cars. And here's another little tick for, okay, everybody's broke. This same time last year, well, we actually, this moment, I'm setting this up wrong. This moment right here compared to last year, I think we went from 18% of our customers that were using credit cards to buy cars here last year, this time of year, to now up to 28%, I think is the number that my wife gave me. So roughly 1 out of every 4 customers that are coming into my shop right now, they're swiping a credit card to be able to actually buy one of our vehicles. That's scary. And not even only that, if it was just that in a vacuum, it's like, okay, well, you deal with poor customers, right? They have to buy cheap cars. Maybe some of them just get the points, right? Okay, so 1 out of every 4 customers use credit card, no problem. But for it to increase from 18% to 28%, just year over year, it's showing you that all the savings is gone. And we hear the word, survival debt that we hear, and we're seeing that, okay, consumers would use that credit card in past years to buy a vacation, to spend on something that was not necessarily a regular expense, but they would do that and use that instead of their savings and then just pay it back over time. They're not doing that anymore. What are they doing? They're calling it survival debt. They're using their credit card now for groceries, for gas, for expenses that they have to actually live their life, to go to work, to take their kids to school. The increase of spending on things like this with their credit card, that's bad for the economy. So here's another issue that I run into right now. You see all these little tabs over here? These are all cars that either need to be repaired, there's something going on, we have drive cycles that we have to complete before we can actually get cars inspected, before we can get them over to our detail to get them out to actually post for sale. But the thing about it is we're backed up. You see how many tabs I've got. Like, we've only got, I think, like 70 cars that are in inventory right now, and more than half of them are in the process right now. So the fix for that is to have more hands on board to be able to drive these cars, get drive cycles done. But if I'm trying to run lean right now because we're really not making a lot of money, then it's kind of I don't know if it's a chicken or the egg kind of problem, but okay, well, I could hire someone else, get more cars out. Maybe we make more money, but maybe we hire that person, we get more cars out, and because of people struggling in my price range in the types of customers that I serve, well, you could have this situation where, okay, my expenses go up because I add somebody to payroll, get more cars out, but then the actual car sales, the increase of car sales doesn't materialize. Even if I have more cars out there, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to sell more cars. We've had that situation before. I think like going into like tax time, like before people get money from tax refunds or whatever, we load up on cars, and we can have a scenario where we have 90 cars for sale, which is like almost triple what we typically would have just because we're loading up. but we don't sell any more cars during that time period just because people don't have money to spend at that moment. So that's not going to directly translate. So I have to decide what I'm going to do. Am I going to spend extra money just to get the cars out, to have some more people here? Because you have to also deal with people. People are difficult. You got to get the right person. If I get somebody in here, I hire the wrong person, and that's another problem. You have to go through the whole thing of firing. That's very difficult to do as a owner, as a boss. I hate it. That's my least favorite thing of anything. But if you don't get the right person in here, you got to do it quick. I have learned that over the years. Been doing it 14 years now, being an actual boss of people. Where, okay, I know that you can't just let that kind of stuff drag on. So if I get the wrong person in here, you got to immediately get them out of here because they can be toxic. But this is what I'm dealing with right now. This is the struggles that I'm going through with my business. Is, big time weakness right now. Hard time finding cars. Hard time getting cars ready to get out to actually sell them on my lot. So where do I designate the time? Where do I designate the actual money to go towards this problem? And this is something that's, it's a moving target, and it's tough. It's tough to decipher and figure out what I'm going to do here.
I think it would be worth the money to hire another mechanic to get more cars fixed and ready faster.
I agree with that. You ever had a conversation with a mechanic before? They're the most unpleasant people on the planet, and they're the most aggravating. It's well earned, right? They're in the heat in a bay, cracking their knuckles on the crankshaft of a car every single day. They're breaking loose nuts, and their fish just go straight into the block of this this thick metal motor, and it's they should be mad, right? And then they have to deal with employing other mechanics who are just as aggravated as they are. So they're just miserable people in most cases. So no, I don't want to employ somebody like that. Luckily with Alex, my mechanic that I have, he's my cousin. We grew up basically as brothers. We've known each other, our whole lives. And I hired him not to be a mechanic. He was not a mechanic before I hired him. I actually hired him to start cleaning cars. Turns out he was horrible at that. And then we had him start like driving cars and just doing transport and stuff. And then one day I was like, okay, well, we don't have a lot to do. You want to try to work on a car? And he was like, yeah, I can see if I can figure it out. Because I knew he was smart anyway. I was like, okay, well, I remember the first job. It was a blend door actuator on a Ford Explorer, like an older one. And he went home. He did the research that night and came back. And it's a job that took me, the book says 3 hours. It's a job that usually would take me somewhere around like 2 hours to do. He got it knocked out in like 45 minutes or an hour. So even his first job that he ever did, and on this particular Explorer, he had to take the whole freaking dash out. And he did all that, put it back together, it worked perfectly, and he was done in under an hour. And I was like, okay, well, this is what you do now. And then every problem that came up, he did research, he figured it out. He had no training at all before any of this. And now, however long it is later, now he's my full trusted as my mechanic. As far as I'm concerned, he can do anything. And he runs my operations of my shop. So the only reason I employ a mechanic is because it was him and he wasn't a mechanic beforehand. But do I have the patience and tolerance to run through someone like that again so they can learn while I'm hiring, while they're working on my clock? Absolutely not. I would not do that over again. So the only fix for that is to hire someone who's already a mechanic. And mechanics are horrible people. They're not horrible people. They are, what's the word what did I say earlier about a mechanic? If you never had a conversation with a mechanic, then you're not going to know what I'm talking about. They are not the most fun people to converse with. And that's not someone I want on my team. Case in point.
Oh, we both clicked on the comment at the same time.
He's a mechanic, and he's already been giving me a hard time. There we go. You're a very difficult person.
I think mechanics are great.
Yep. You must be a real difficult person. Yes. And you probably don't have all your teeth. There you go.
Oh, come on.
I remember listening to a Car Talk episode where they're asking about a older car and who should I get to fix this car. And they're like, Well, you can't take it to any of these like fast quickie lube places. You can't take it to a Ford dealership. This is an old car. You need an old mechanic. So you need to go to a couple family-owned places. And if you walk in there and these mechanics have all their teeth, you run. You get out of there. They can't fix this car. You got to have a mechanic that has less teeth than sense. That's what you need. So 3 teeth, and then they can fix your car. That's what you're looking for.
You guys are in a very cynical, dark mood today. Yep.
Really?
This is pretty.
I feel like I'm in a great mood today.
So behind the scenes, we joke like this a lot, and it doesn't feel dark to us because we know that we're joking, or we know that it's fine, or whatever kind of a thing. But I mean, it looks like we haven't hurt anybody's feelings yet, so I think we're doing great.
I think I should have been. I've been trying to.
Yeah, I know.
I've been trying to hurt Rocky's feelings here.
He's handling it like a champ.
Yeah, he's got thick skin. That's good.
Okay. Would you consider hiring a mechanic that just graduated from automotive school to avoid the older mean ones?
Yeah, I would. We've tried to actually get like an internship through our local community college. And it was interesting because the person who was over the internships, they were like, kids just aren't signing up for internships anymore, which seems crazy to me. And this seems like the perfect opportunity for a kid like that trying to get like their tech degree for mechanics to be able to come and tinker with our cars and do it. And we would pay them. We couldn't get it. We didn't even get the first call or the first email on this thing.
We did too. We had one that was really interested.
Yeah.
But she didn't qualify for insurance and she wasn't even close. And not only that, but she would be unlikely to be insurable at any mechanic shop that's doing things like they're supposed to. And as a car dealer, if we are not following the insurance rules, we lose our insurance policy. We can't have a dealership anymore.
Was it because she was too young or had too many points on her license?
Neither. She didn't have a driver's license.
She didn't have a driver's license. Well, they would have to have a driver's license.
And the thing is, like, well, I could have one. I know how to drive. Well, that's not the problem.
Yeah, that's not the thought process that I want working on my cars either.
No, it's not. So here's the other thing that we ran into, that there were a lot of the people couldn't apply even if they wanted to. Like, we wouldn't have seen how many could have, because the age requirement, because of how many years of driving experience you have to qualify for insurance. So a lot of the people that are in these classes are much younger, which would make sense, but you can't get them on their insurance if they're too young.
It's funny talking about license and stuff. We get so many customers that will come in without license and try to buy a car. They're like, well, I drove here.
Yep.
That doesn't mean that I understand you have the capability of driving the car, but not the legal ability to drive a car.
Yeah, we would absolutely love to get in a paid internship. Even sure, I'm not trying to get free labor, but paid anything like that. We've talked about seasonal stuff and part time and that kind of thing, but it's really hard.
It's hard to hire anybody right now that's worth anything, because people who want to have a job and are good, have good attitudes and good work ethic, they have jobs and they have really good paying jobs, because it's so hard to find people that are just not lazy. Like, even like I'm a millennial, and just my whole generation, like, there's so much laziness. All the guys around even my age want to do is they want to sit at home and play video games, or just do the very minimum in whatever job they're doing, because they're lazy. And the generation behind me is even worse. And now we have this generation coming up that lived through like the pandemic, and that's all they did was they didn't go to school and they played video games. And it's going to be very, very difficult for employers that have actual manual labor to be able to hire anyone, because people just don't want to work, even if you pay good. Like, they just don't want the jobs. I've read so much about how there's a shortage of mechanics. There's a shortage of like construction workers come up. There's a shortage of like city workers that they're for like garbage collection, plumbers, electric. Like, there's a shortage of all these manual labor jobs that are just going away. And that's why a lot of your services are going to go up in the future, because there's going to be such a small pool of these people who actually want to do that job. And it's going to be bad. Like 10, 20 years from now, out of all these manual labor jobs that all age out, they retire. It's going to be very, very hard to replace them. And I've even read a lot where there's going to be a situation where a lot of these white collar jobs that were getting paid way more than a lot of the blue collar jobs, a lot of that could eventually switch because of the demand for those jobs and the amount of people that are actually wanting to go into those things. There's an unlimited supply of people who can be computer programmers, or now I know AI is going to kill all stuff like that, but people who actually deal with tech, the white collar job that was getting paid so much, there's a slew of people that want to do that job, go work in a desk and go work inside and go do that kind of stuff. But there's none of these kids that are coming up that want to go and weld, right? So the welder is now going to be the 6-figure income earner, the $150,000 to $200,000 a year, and then the white collar jobs are going to continue to go down in actually what they can pay, because there's just so more people that want to do those jobs versus getting their heads dirty, and that's sad in my opinion, because hopefully I'm gonna train my son hopefully to have some skills and not want to sit around and not do anything. But I mean, I don't know. It just seems like generations are getting worse and worse and worse. And I've got grandpa syndrome, because I'm sure this is exactly the same thing that I heard from my grandfather when I sat around with him 15 years ago talking about my generation getting so much lazier too. So it's just going to keep happening over and over and over.